In my previous life, the whispers of my heart were audible to my entire family. The false heiress sowed discord daily, leading to my grievances being heard by all without exception. The family's disdain for me culminated in my expulsion from home and ultimately, my tragic demise. Once more, I find myself in this realm. I begin to fervently articulate my thoughts within my mind. Sister often laments that grandmother's preference for male heirs has been unkind to her, yet I perceive grandmother to be quite amiable. Mother is so beautiful, why does sister call her a worn-out hag? Father is exceedingly courteous, far from the uncultured brute sister describes. It turns out brother is unwell, yet sister refers to him as a repulsive, slothful shootin'. I cherish my family dearly, and I shall treat them with kindness henceforth. This time, your downfall is inevitable. Tsin, from now on, this will be your home. Mother has neglected you for so many years, but I shall make it up to you from now on. Zhou Yu, the daughter-in-law of the Tsin family, tenderly wrapped her arm around my shoulders and guided me through the grand entrance of the Tsin residence. In my previous life, she too had promised to compensate me well. However, we were both deceived by the false heiress, leading to my family's contempt and my eventual expulsion. In this lifetime, I shall not allow the false heiress to prevail. With a smile, I gazed at Zhou Yu, simultaneously expressing, "Thank you, mother. Having you is truly wonderful." Zhou Yu paused momentarily, then affectionately ruffled my hair, saying, "Silly girl, mother will always be by your side." Father's warm hand clasped mine, his booming voice calling towards the interior, "Come, come, everyone, meet our little princess. Tsin, this is your grandmother, and your elder brother Qingyuan. This is Qinghuan, the child who was swapped with you all those years ago." Grandmother's kind visage beamed at me, her eyes crinkling with joy as she spoke, her eyes glistening with moisture. "It is good to have you back. So good to have you back." Brother Tsin Qingyuan, clad in thick black-rimmed glasses, glanced at me with a blank expression before silently retreating to his room. Only Tsin Qingyuan approached me with enthusiasm, taking my hand and sincerely apologizing for having usurped my identity for so long, promising to make amends in the future. In my previous life, I believed her kindness stemmed from genuine remorse, unaware that it was all part of her devious scheme. She orchestrated misunderstandings, leading me to believe my family harbored disdain for me, while simultaneously whispering poison into their ears, which ultimately aided her in casting me aside. I timidly regarded grandmother and brother, offering them polite greetings, while boldly voicing my true sentiments inwardly. Father is so robust, his voice resonant, exuding a sense of security with him around. I shall no longer fear being bullied. Grandmother appears so benevolent. How fortunate I am to have such a grandmother. Though brother has yet to acknowledge me, I believe he is merely unfamiliar with me. I shall strive to be a good sister. Father, mother, grandmother, and brother exchanged bewildered glances, momentarily stunned. Yet, they swiftly regained their composure. Only Tsin Qingyuan maintained a facade of insincerity throughout. In my past existence, my parents, filled with sorrow and disappointment, cast me out, lamenting, "If returning here brings you such discontent, then depart." Yet, I had never uttered a single complaint before them, only harboring my grievances in silence. I never anticipated that my parents would come to know my thoughts. Their astonished expressions now confirmed my suspicion that the entire family could indeed hear the whispers of my heart except for Tsin Qingyuan. 2. Tsin Qingyuan enthusiastically grasped my hand, expressing her desire to show me around, and I shyly smiled in gratitude. Given that Qingyuan is so amicable towards me, it seems my earlier concerns were unfounded. Is this what they refer to as enduring hardship before enjoying sweetness? Seizing their curiosity about my innermost feelings, I indulged in lavishly praising myself in my thoughts. My father chuckled as he wrapped his arm around my mother's shoulders, both sharing a comforting smile. During dinner, my mother informed me that she had already completed my household registration and enrollment procedures, and starting tomorrow, I would be in the same class as Qingyuan. The Tsin family enjoys a well-to-do lifestyle, with their children attending a prestigious private high school. My elder brother is in his final year, while both Qingyuan and I are freshmen. To demonstrate her care and attention towards me, Qingyuan woke me up at dawn the next day, stating she wished to help me prepare for school. In our bedroom, she appeared to be sharing heartfelt words, but in reality, she was ensnaring me in her web. Let me tell you, there are many rules to adhere to in this household, such as rising early. I usually wake up at 5 to assist with breakfast. In my previous life, the naive part of me thought, ISNT this just like my days in the mountains. Waking up at dawn to help my foster mother prepare breakfast? At that moment, my mother cast an unhappy glance my way and said to Qingyuan, "Please do not wake Qingyan so early in the future. Let her rest a little longer." I initially believed my mother was being considerate of me. Perhaps Qinghuan later criticized me to my mother for being lazy and unwilling to contribute to my parents. I nodded humbly and said to Qinghuan, "Thank you, sister, for the reminder. I am accustomed to rising early as well." Qinghuan forced a disingenuous smile while styling my hair neatly, kindly taking my hand to lead me downstairs. "Dad, Mom, look how beautiful Qing'an is." Upon hearing her voice, my mother turned around, and upon seeing my elegantly prepared appearance, she cheerfully beckoned me to join them for breakfast. I affectionately stood close to my mother, fearing she might not hear my unspoken thoughts. I am truly fortunate to see my mother every day and savor her cooking. "Mom, what's for breakfast today? It smells so good." Qinghuan pulled out a chair and sat down, praising my mother's culinary skills. Though we both knew the meal was prepared by the servants. "You mischievous girl, it's just the usual fare. Thankfully, you haven't grown tired of it." Qinghuan wrinkled her nose, playfully saying to my mother, "I could never tire of what you make, Mom." I stood to the side, enviously watching their affectionate and natural interaction. My heart couldn't help but sigh. When will I be able to be as affectionate with my mother as Qinghuan? Hearing my silent longing, my mother turned to me with a look of concern, saying, "Silly child, come have breakfast. I'll take you both to school later." "Yay!" Qinghuan clapped her hands joyfully, casting a triumphant glance at me. I too smiled genuinely. 3. My classmates were quite curious about the relationship between Qinghuan and me during the break. She and her friends enthusiastically gathered around me. "Your skin is so rough. Have you never done skincare? Look at her hair. It's all split ends." "Qinghuan, how can you take your sister out when she looks like this?" Her friends surrounded me, making unkind comments. I raised a perfunctory smile, refraining from directly retorting their malice. I mimicked the melodramatic characters from TV shows, saying tearfully, "It's because I was sold to the mountains as a child. I had to help my foster parents with farm work and household chores as soon as I learned to walk, and I was mistreated. Surviving is a blessing. I know that you sisters look down on me, but my plight is not of my own making." As soon as I finished speaking, my gentle eyes lowered, and I lifted my gaze to Qinghuan, who uncomfortably averted her eyes from mine. The surrounding classmates, eavesdropping on the gossip, cast sympathetic glances my way, and I achieved my objective. I pretended to cry, pushing past Qinghuan and dashing out of the classroom with my head bowed. If I stayed any longer, I wouldn't be able to suppress my smile. Hiding in the restroom, I took a few deep breaths, and when the class bell rang, I leaned over the sink to wash my face. I walked into the classroom with my head slightly bowed under the gaze of my peers. Until the end of school, neither Qinghuan nor her friends troubled me again, likely fearing others would accuse them of bullying a weaker student, as protecting the vulnerable is a common sentiment among most decent people. At dismissal, Qinghuan reluctantly approached me. "Qing'an, my friends are just blunt. They didn't mean to offend you, so don't take it to heart." I smiled understandingly and replied, "Sister, I understand. I didn't take it to heart. I was merely explaining to them." Qinghuan forced a smile and said, "That's good." My mother was already waiting at the school gate, and upon seeing us emerge, she joyfully waved. Qinghuan enthusiastically responded, releasing my hand to run towards my mother. I followed suit, wearing a bright smile. "Mom, my mother teased us. You're both so old, yet act like elementary school children." Qinghuan, in a playful tone, said, "In front of Mom, I wish to forever be a child." I nodded earnestly in agreement. In the car, I curiously inquired, "Why isn't my brother coming home with us?" My mother furrowed her brow and replied, "Your brother is rather reclusive and prefers not to be with us, so he usually takes the bus alone." I nodded in understanding. In my previous life, due to my brother's introverted nature and Qinghuan's instigation, my relationship with him had become quite estranged. Noticing that school finished early today, my mother suggested we go shopping and get some beauty treatments together. I gazed at her in astonishment, thinking to myself, "Today, a friend of my sister mentioned my poor skin and hair. How fortunate that mother is taking me for beauty treatments now." My mother frowned slightly, glancing at Qinghuan through the rear-view mirror. At the beauty salon, she specifically instructed the beauticians to give me a comprehensive treatment from head to toe. Upon hearing my mother's arrangements, Qinghuan forced a strained smile, and it will look stunning after the treatment. I beamed with pride, saying, "Perhaps it's because I resemble my mother." Qinghuan froze in place, as if struck by lightning. My mother affectionately took my hand as we entered, and Qinghuan, regaining her composure, followed closely behind. While I was undergoing the beauty treatment, my father called to inform us he wouldn't be home for dinner, prompting my mother to suggest we dine out instead. As we prepared to head home, I shyly tugged at my mother's sleeve and boldly said, "Mom, I'd like to bring some snacks back for my brother." My mother looked surprised, and Qinghwan regarded me with playful curiosity. "What do you want to buy for your brother? He has been on a diet lately. He probably want to eat your snacks." After pondering for a moment, recalling my previous life with Tsin Yuan, I blurted out, "How about some buckwheat noodles and pickled vegetables? I can cook them for my brother. They're guaranteed to be both low-fat and delicious." While my mother was selecting ingredients, Qinghwan walked beside me and whispered, "I didn't expect you to be so adept at winning people over on your first arrival." I widened my innocent eyes and tilted my head, saying, "Sister, what are you talking about? I don't understand." Qinghwan stared at me coldly. "Don't think I can't see through your tricks. You may fool them, but you can't fool me. Sister, I truly didn't. I just thought my brother might be too tired from studying and would get hungry. So, I wanted to make him something to eat." Qinghwan huffed and turned her head away, no longer looking at me. Just as my mother approached, I lamented silently. I genuinely wish to be kind to my brother. Why does my sister think I'm trying to win people over? My mother paused her steps, cleared her throat, and Qinghwan quickly turned her head, her forced smile returning to her face. "Let us hurry back, Qing'an. We need to prepare a late-night snack for your brother, and you can teach me how to make low-fat meals. I'm not very knowledgeable about it. I learned everything online." She gently entwined her arm with mine, saying, "It's all right, we shall study together." My mother cast a meaningful glance at us before silently proceeding ahead. As soon as the door swung open, Qinghwan excitedly called out from within, "Brother, Qing'an said she wants to make you a late-night snack." After a prolonged silence from my brother, Qinghwan tugged at my arm and rushed upstairs, abruptly flinging open Tsin Yuan's door. He appeared startled, swiftly removing his headphones and bellowing at us, "Do you have any manners?" Qinghwan timidly shrank her neck, pushing me forward as she explained, "Brother, it was Qing'an who said she wanted to make you a late-night snack. She came to find you because you didn't respond." "I won't eat. I'm on a diet." Qinghwan lifted her chin, casting me a knowing look and mouthing, "See?" Summoning my courage, I addressed Tsin Yuan, "Brother, I understand you're on a diet, but I've learned to prepare low-calorie meals. You could give it a try, and if you find it palatable, I can make it for you in the future." Tsin Yuan scanned us both, his gaze settling on me as he growled, "I said I won't eat." I lowered my head, fixating on my fidgeting fingers. Feeling somewhat wronged as I thought, I've watched my brother struggle with hunger while dieting these past few days. A nutrition blogger mentioned that one can feel full while losing weight. After all, I am all too familiar with the discomfort of an empty stomach. Tsin Yuan's expression softened. After all, who could resist someone genuinely caring for them? His heart was swayed by my earnestness, and as Qinghwan triumphantly pulled me away, Tsin Yuan's voice resonated. "Then go ahead and make it, but don't prepare too much. If it's unappetizing, I want to eat it." I beamed with a radiant smile. "Okay, I shall start right away." As I prepared Tsin Yuan's first low-calorie meal, I meticulously followed the video step by step. A small amount of heated oil mingled with chili powder, instantly filling the air with a tantalizing aroma. Just as the buckwheat noodles were ready, Tsin Yuan descended, drawn by the delightful scent. Qinghwan, who had initially awaited amusement, was taken aback and, while seemingly supporting me, subtly attempted to sow discord. "Brother, if you find it unpalatable, please don't force yourself." Qing'an only mentioned it in front of mother because she feared she couldn't back out. Her words twisted my sincere intention of preparing a meal for Tsin Yuan. I quickly reassured myself. That's not the case at all. Why does sister always misinterpret my intentions? I genuinely wish to cook for brother. Tsin Yuan, attuned to my thoughts, ignored Qinghwan and seated himself at the table. "Aren't you bringing it out yet? I'm hungry." I eagerly placed the noodles on the table and sat across from him, watching intently as he took a bite. He awkwardly grabbed some noodles, burying his head as he slurped them up. After just one taste, his appetite surged, and he devoured the meal, the plate soon nearly empty. Qinghwan widened her eyes in shock, unable to utter a word. I eagerly inquired, "Brother, how does it taste?" Tsin Yuan turned his head away and replied, "Not bad. You can make it again next time." I leapt up as if I had won a prize, exclaiming, "Yay!" In the days that followed, Tsin Yuan's demeanor towards me grew considerably warmer. This shift incited a sense of threat within Qinghwan. Previously, she had regarded the overweight Tsin Yuan with disdain, confident in her status as the true heiress. However, as her position was compromised, she felt compelled to curry favor with the legitimate heir of the Tsin family. In truth, Tsin Yuan was merely experiencing adolescent weight gain, exacerbated by a diet rich in oils and sugars leading to acne. After 2 months of my preparing nutritious, low-calorie meals for him, he visibly slimmed down, and his complexion began to clear. With this transformation came a change in his personality. He no longer secluded himself in his room and began engaging in conversation with everyone whenever possible. Qingyuan, Grandma's birthday is approaching. Do you have any suggestions? My father, noticing Tsin Qingyuan's significant change, began to enjoy conversing with him. This year marks Qingyuan's first return home. Why not host a grand banquet to introduce her to our friends and family? My mother wholeheartedly endorsed this proposal, while Tsin Qingyuan wore a displeased expression. Dad, Mom, you know Grandma's personality. She dislikes extravagance. A lavish banquet may not bring her joy. Just as Grandma returned from a stroll in the garden, she concurred. Indeed, I am but an old woman. A simple celebration will suffice. Tsin Qingyuan cast a triumphant glance in my direction. Upon hearing this, I intended to smooth things over by agreeing with Grandma, but Tsin Qingyuan interjected. Grandma, it's not only to celebrate your birthday but also to introduce Qingyuan to everyone. After pondering, Grandma nodded in agreement. Yes, everyone has yet to meet Qingyuan. It's settled then. We shall proceed as Qingyuan suggested. I expressed gratitude towards Grandma and Tsin Qingyuan, silently reflecting. Sister often claims that Grandma's favoritism towards boys is detrimental to her, yet I believe Grandma is truly wonderful. The room fell silent as everyone exchanged glances before their expressions turned somber. Tsin Qingyuan, oblivious to the underlying tension, quickly adapted her stance, saying, I suppose I hadn't considered it thoroughly. Brother has indeed given it more thought. She then playfully stuck out her tongue at everyone, only to receive indifference as they dispersed. Alone in the living room, Tsin Qingyuan's expression darkened as she addressed me. With your pitiful appearance, you wouldn't even resemble a prince in royal attire. Hosting a banquet will only serve to embarrass you before everyone. I calmly retorted her derision. Spending these months alongside sister has allowed me to absorb a fair amount of knowledge. After all, my innate genes will enable me to learn efficiently. Tsin Qingyuan loathed it when I invoked our family lineage against her, striking a nerve, and she glared at me with fury. With a forceful stomp, she huffed and retreated upstairs. As the preparations for the grand family banquet commenced, my mother began selecting the venue, while my father and Grandma discussed the guest list whenever they had a moment. Tsin Qingyuan, claiming he did not wish to hinder my studies, requested I teach the servants how to prepare the low-calorie meals. Having embraced a healthy diet, Tsin Qingyuan's physique had transitioned from overweight to a more standard build, and his skin began to regain its smoothness, instilling him with newfound confidence. Today, my mother invited the designer of haute couture to our home to tailor outfits for each of us to wear at the banquet. The designer measured everyone's dimensions, and as she assessed my father, everyone couldn't help but admire his tall and robust stature. My father graciously responded to the compliments. I gazed at him with admiration, my thoughts slipping out. Father is so polite. He hardly resembles the uncultured brute sister describes. The expressions of those present shifted, each seemingly adorned with 3 dark vertical lines. Especially my father, whose grim countenance had startled even the designer. After the measurements, the designer inquired about our preferred colors and styles, presenting us with various fabrics to choose from. My eyes fell upon a piece of lake blue satin, and just as I reached out to inspect it closely, Tsin Qingyuan, seemingly reading my mind, swiftly stepped forward to seize the fabric. This satin is lovely. I want this one. My hand froze mid-air as I stared at the satin. It's all right. If sister likes it, I shall let her have it. I only hope she ceases to harbor such animosity towards me. My father, sensing my thoughts, spoke in a low voice. Qingyuan, this banquet is primarily to honor Grandma and Qingyuan. Let us allow Qingyuan to choose first. I stared at my father in astonishment, my expression akin to having my innermost thoughts laid bare. He returned my gaze with a knowing smile. Your eyes betray your fondness for that piece of satin. I sweetly smiled at my father and said, I never anticipated that you understand me so well, Dad. I truly adore that piece of satin. However, my sister also likes it, and I can certainly let her have it. Upon seeing the satin I willingly relinquished, Tsin Qingyuan's expression soured immediately. Angrily, she set it down and retorted, if you like it so much, take it for yourself, I no longer want it. My father's gaze fell upon her irritated demeanor, and his temper flared instantly as he shouted, you cannot even care for your sister, choosing for yourself first, and she, so considerate, offers it to you. Yet you still grow angry. What kind of sister are you? Tsin Qingyuan recoiled in fright, her lips trembling in disbelief as tears the size of pearls cascaded down her cheeks. Father, you have never been so fierce with me before. You scold me now because of Tsin. My father furrowed his brow tightly and replied, I am teaching you how to be a good sister. Tsin raised her hands to cover her face and sobbed as she fled back to her room. The rest of us exchanged glances, no one daring to comfort her. Tsin, I intend to gradually instill disappointment in everyone regarding you, this faux heiress with whom we share our daily lives. I wonder, on the day you are cast out from this home, will a large truck carelessly knock you down? Observing the unfolding scene, the designer hurriedly stepped forward to mediate. The second young lady has a slender figure. Satin might not suit her well. Perhaps we should consider a lightweight fabric of a similar hue, such as lace or tencel, which would yield a more favorable effect. I playfully responded, let us proceed as you suggest. I am not well versed in these matters and will rely entirely on your expertise. My mother approached, resting a hand on my shoulder, and addressed the designer. This is my daughter's first significant occasion. Please ensure she is adorned in the most exquisite gown. After the fabrics were selected and requests made, the designer took his leave. As we sat in the living room, silence enveloped us. My mother broke the stillness, turning to my father and saying, Qinghuan is just a child. You need not hold her accountable. My father snorted in response. Did you not hear how she spoke of me? My mother's expression shifted, and she cast a significant glance at my father, who immediately recognized his misstep and fell silent. Qinghuan, acutely aware of her precarious position at home, did not wait for her elders to offer her a way out. She swiftly adjusted her demeanor. Sitting obediently between our parents and sincerely apologized, Father, I am sorry. Your reprimand was indeed justified. I have been spoiled by you both since childhood, and since my sister has finally returned to our family, I ought to be more accommodating. Though her words seemed apologetic, they were laced with a hint of manipulation, designed to rekindle our parents' affection for her. I understood that my heartfelt sentiments alone could not easily shake Qinghuan's standing in our parents' eyes. Yet time is on my side. There will inevitably come a day when she cannot resist making mistakes. As time slipped away amid everyone's busyness, the day of grandmother's birthday banquet arrived. The family dressed in finery, arriving early at the banquet hall to await guests. I admired the costly gown I wore, perfectly tailored and playfully designed, truly accentuating my virtues. Qinghuan cast a jealous gaze at my ensemble, as if her glare could burn a hole through it. My mother looked at us both with satisfaction, nodding in appreciation. Indeed, my precious daughters are both stunning. Qinghuan, with an air of feigned innocence, flattered my mother. That is only because you are so beautiful, Mom. I smiled at Qinghuan as she praised our mother with a straight face, my mind racing with confusion. Indeed, Mother is so lovely. So, why did my sister previously complain that Mother was a haggard woman? Now she smiles and declares Mother beautiful, which statement is genuine, and which is false. My mother's brow furrowed, her frozen smile indicating she had heard my unvoiced thoughts. As the banquet hour approached and guests began to arrive, my mother joyfully led me around to greet friends and family. Qinghuan, undeterred, maintained a rigid smile beside her, unaware of the circumstances. She could only watch in confusion as my mother overlooked her. A grand lady called out to my mother, Ayu, bring the children over for me to see closely. My mother eagerly took my hand and led me to the lady. This is your great. Be sure to greet her. I beamed at my great-aunt and respectfully bowed. Hello, great-aunt. My great-aunt kindly took my hand, stroking it with affection. Oh dear, this child resembles De Yong as if carved from the same mold. Truly handsome. I shyly lowered my head, smiling softly. You flatter me, great-aunt. My mother proudly added. Indeed, the moment I saw her at the police station, I knew she was my biological daughter. Inside, I rejoiced. At that moment, gazing upon my elegant and composed mother, I could scarcely believe she was mine. I am blessed to have such a gentle and beautiful mother. As long as I could return to her side, the hardships I endured would pale in comparison. My mother lovingly stroked my hair, thanked the heavens for allowing me to reclaim my lost treasure. Great-aunt nodded approvingly at us, then swiftly removed a green jade bracelet from her wrist, placing it upon mine without hesitation. I looked up in astonishment, meeting my great-aunt's kind gaze. Great-aunt, this is far too precious. I cannot accept it. She chuckled warmly. Silly child, I know you have endured much hardship. I have heard all about your story. This bracelet is but a small token of my affection. You need not feel anxious. My eyes grew misty, and my nose tingled as I inhaled deeply. Thank you, great-aunt. My mother chimed in, grateful, great-aunt. You truly spoil the children. Great Aunt noticed Tsin Qinghuan's envious expression and gently reassured her, Qinghuan, I have always held affection for you. I am merely indulging your sister a bit more today. You shan't feel jealous, will you? Tsin Qinghuan forced a strained smile. Of course not, Great Aunt. I am already very grateful that my parents continue to keep me in this home. With that, she nearly shed tears, prompting Great Aunt to pat her hand. Silly child. Do not speak such nonsense. Remain here peacefully. No one will cast you out. I seized the moment to approach her, affectionately linking my arm with hers, sister. If you wish, we can take turns wearing it. Tsin Qinghuan awkwardly withdrew her arm from mine, replying coldly, no need. I have plenty of such jewelry. You should cherish what Great Aunt has given you. I nodded awkwardly, responding timidly, all right, I understand, sister. My mother and Great Aunt both observed the tension and sarcasm between the sisters, astute enough to perceive Tsin Qinghuan's jealousy towards me. As the banquet commenced, guests engaged in lively conversation, toasts exchanged, and praises flowed freely toward us three. The now confident Tsin Qingyuan stood alongside us, no longer the solitary figure she had been in a previous life. I couldn't help but reflect. It turns out my brother's reclusiveness stemmed from his unhappiness. Why then did my sister label him a disgusting, lazy glutton? Tsin Qingyuan, his eyes wide in disbelief, turned his head stiffly to glance at me before finally resting his gaze on Tsin Qinghuan. How fortunate I am to have assisted my brother in losing weight. He is truly handsome now, and I adore my brother dearly. Hearing my unspoken admiration, his eyes shifted from Tsin Qinghuan back to me, filled with affection. Meeting my gaze with warmth, I bashfully smiled and lowered my head. As the banquet concluded, grandmother beamed at the three of us, her joy evident. On the ride home, she held my hand, stroking it gently as she murmured, how wonderful, my precious granddaughter has returned. It is truly a blessing.
Tsin Qingguan,
Seated on the other side of grandmother, turned her head away, silently gazing out the window. However, the tightly clenched hands resting on her lap betrayed her true feelings. The identity of the biological daughter of the Tsin family has been publicly revealed at the banquet, leading to a pronounced and stark division in treatment at school. Those classmates who once looked down upon me are now attempting to ingratiate themselves, while Tsin Qinghua's circle of friends is determined to defend her, displaying even more hostility towards me. Cold remarks and social isolation have become commonplace, and on occasions when we cross paths, they deliberately collide with me. Among them, the tall and imposing Zhou Sini holds the utmost disdain for me, resenting my rise and scornful of my frail physique. One such collision sent me crashing to the ground. After brushing off the dust and nursing the painful soreness in my shoulder and hip, I rose indifferently, choosing to ignore her deliberate provocation as I walked away. My gaze met Tsin Qinghua's arrogant and domineering expression. Now that school has ended, Tsin Qinghua no longer walks home with me. I carry my backpack alone along a secluded path. Spotting a figure ahead that bears a striking resemblance to my brother, I excitedly call out, brother. Suddenly, a pair of strong arms reaches from behind, forcefully covering my mouth and dragging me backward. I struggle, unable to produce a sound, my heart incessantly pleading, brother, save me. Yet, I watch helplessly as my brother's silhouette fades from view, never turning back. With my mouth and nose tightly sealed, I gradually feel the strain of breathlessness, my eyelids growing heavier. In a final attempt to cling to consciousness, I clawed desperately at the arm restraining me, feeling its smooth texture as I exert every ounce of strength to leave deep imprints with my nails. The assailant remains unfazed, relentlessly pulling me towards a vehicle, a familiar scent wafting into my nostrils before I succumb to unconsciousness. The rhythmic sound of dripping water pulls me back to reality, the musty odor invading my senses. My eyes flutter open, slowly scanning the dimly lit surroundings. Ah, you woke up so soon? I struggle to raise my eyelids, finding Tsin Qinghua smirking at me with a condescending gaze. I scoff, have you finally succumbed to the urge to take action against me? Tsin Qinghua leaps off a rickety table and strides towards me. Tsin Qing'an, do you think you are formidable? Your academic performance surpasses mine, and you receive more affection at home. What gives you the right? I find it revolting to even utter your name. How dare it be so similar to mine? She grips my chin tightly, forcing me to meet her gaze. I smirk, returning her disdainful stare. What gives me the right? Surely you have some awareness of that. Tsin Qinghua's temper flares, and she slaps me with considerable force, causing my face to flush and the metallic taste of blood to fill my mouth. How are you still alive after that incident in the mountains? You dare to return and challenge me. Today, you've fallen into my hands. Consider it your misfortune. Henceforth, the Tsin family shall have only one daughter. Tsin Qinghua rises, wiping her hands with a tissue, and calls out to the door, "Come in." To my astonishment, Zhou Sini enters, accompanied by a slender young man who bears a striking resemblance to her, presumably her brother. Without a hint of courtesy, Tsin Qinghua commands Zhou Sini, "Pin her against the wall." Zhou Sini obediently steps forward, pressing me against the wall, causing my head to strike it heavily, leaving me momentarily dazed. Her brother picks up a bucket of strong adhesive from the floor and begins to apply it to me from the bottom up. The sticky sensation crawls up my shoulders as I struggle, but the adhesive dries swiftly, and with Zhou Sini's grip, I find myself utterly immobilized. Soon, I am affixed to the wall like a crucifix, unable to move below my neck. Tsin Qinghua approaches, with a chilling demeanor, taking the brush from Zhou Sini's brother and dipping it into the adhesive. With a triumphant smile, she begins to affix my hair, strand by strand, to the wall. "Tsin Qing'an, aren't you fond of dressing up? So keen on beauty treatments, why not try this adhesive treatment?" She forcefully hands the brush to Zhou Sini. "What do you think? Is my masterpiece pleasing?" Zhou Sini nods eagerly. "Absolutely. Qinghua's taste is always impeccable." Tsin Qinghua grips her hand, leading her to dip into the adhesive bucket once more. Raising the brush, a cruel glint flickers in her eyes. "I'll leave the final touch to you. Remember to apply it thoroughly. Not a single breath of air should escape." Zhou Sini trembles as she nods, and Tsin Qinghua lifts her gaze to me. "It's time to bid farewell, my dear sister." With that, she turns and strides out, waving a dismissive hand. "Zhou Sini, remember, you have something of mine. Clean up this mess, and we shall be even." Zhou Sini shrinks back, replying timidly, "Don't worry, as long as you keep your word." Tsin Qinghua huffs disdainfully and departs. I fix my gaze on the Zhou siblings, perceiving the hesitance and panic in Zhou Sini's eyes. After all, how could a high school student commit murder without fear? "Zhou Sini, your leverage is tied to your brother, is it not?" Zhou Sini is taken aback, surprised that I am aware. "It's evident you care deeply for your brother. You would even kill for him, but can you truly trust Tsin Qinghua to keep your secret? Today, she coerces you into killing me. Tomorrow, if she finds someone else she despises, she will still come to you for the same." Zhou Sini's brow furrows at this, her steps halting. "She wouldn't do that. She promised this would be the only time. Ha ha ha, she threatens you with your brother's secret to compel you to kill me. And then she will use your act of murder to blackmail you in the future." This aligns perfectly with Tsin Qinghua's character. Zhou Sini's expression shifts to one of realization, her eyes widening in horror as her mouth hangs open. After a moment, she glances at her brother, tears streaming down her face. "But I can't abandon my brother." Tsin Qinghua demands that I send her photos after it's done. I smile cunningly. "Let us collaborate. We can provide her with a satisfactory photograph, allowing you to save your brother without taking my life." Zhou Sini shows signs of wavering. "How do we collaborate? Isn't she asking you to seal my mouth and nose with the adhesive, ensuring I suffocate?" Zhou Sini nods. "Tsin Qinghua, whether in this life or the previous, you have remained cold-hearted and unfeeling. I never intended to contend with you. Yet, you have sought nothing short of my life. Thus, do not blame me for leaving you without an escape. You apply the adhesive to my face, leaving my nose free to breathe, and I will cooperate for the photograph. You need not release me. Simply provide a discreet signal to my family to help them find me." Zhou Sini shakes her head. "No, if I signal them, Tsin Qinghua will surely know it was me." I glance at my backpack and instruct her, "Open my backpack, take out my phone, unlock it, and activate the location feature. I trust my brother, the tech-savvy one, will find me." Her brother cautiously exits the room, ensuring that Tsin Qinghua has truly left before tugging at Zhou Sini's sleeve. "Sister, I don't want you to kill. I would rather go to prison." Zhou Sini protests. "No, I can't let you go to prison. You are the only male in our family. I will protect you." Internally, I roll my eyes, realizing that the sibling bond one believed was strong is built upon a foundation of gender bias. I suppress the urge to berate them and patiently reassure the Zhou siblings. "You know I am the legitimate daughter of the Tsin family. They have celebrated my return with a lavish banquet, illustrating the weight they place upon me. No matter what your brother has done, once I am safe, I will definitely ask my parents to hire a lawyer for you, alright? In this rule of law society, do you think that if Tsin Qinghua remains silent, no one will know? The police are quite capable now. Uncovering the truth is not a difficult task. It would be better to address this issue openly and honestly. So you won't have to endure any future coercion." The siblings exchanged glances, and the brother nodded first, speaking up, "Sister, I believe what this older sister says makes sense. Familial bonds carry weight." Zhou Sini steeled her resolve, following my advice, activating the location feature on her phone before shoving it back into her backpack. She then raised a brush and gently applied a layer of strong adhesive to my lips, worried that applying too much glue might obstruct my nostrils. After taking a photograph, she carefully wiped away some excess, confirming that I was still able to breathe normally. The siblings exchanged a quick word before hastily departing. Silence enveloped the surroundings. While I had been negotiating with them, I had carefully observed the outside world, deducing that we were likely near an abandoned warehouse close to the school. After all, a few students, not wanting to attract attention, could only covertly carry me away. And without a means of transport, they couldn't venture far. The tranquil passage of time felt exceptionally slow as I silently chanted in my mind, "Father, mother, brother, please come to rescue me." "Wah, mother, I am so scared. Where are you?" I perked my ears to listen for any sounds from outside, and since Tsin and her brother had left, I could only hear the distant hum of passing cars. "Qingyuan, did you see in and around here?" When I was leaving school, I vaguely heard Anan call my name, but when I turned around, I saw no one. I thought I had misheard. But now Anan's phone location shows here, which confirms that she indeed called for me at that moment. I listened to my father and brother's conversation, excitement making my body squirm. Unfortunately, my mouth was sealed, rendering me unable to cry for help. Thankfully, they could hear my silent pleas. "Father, brother, honey." I heard Anan's voice. My mother was the first to react, calling out to my father. Soon, the three of them were shouting my name. "An, where are you?" In my heart, I was desperately calling out, "Mother, I am here. I am inside a room, and there is a small vent through which I can see outside." My mother shouted excitedly, "A vent? Honey, which nearby house has a vent?" "I know. That little warehouse." My brother quickly pinpointed my location based on my clues, and hurried footsteps approached. "Don't be afraid. Your brother is coming." I could no longer contain my tears, and they flowed freely. "Wah, brother. Thank you for finding me so quickly." With a loud bang, the warehouse door was forcefully flung open. The three of them stood outside, panting, and the dim light made it difficult for them to immediately discern my condition. After a moment, I felt a rush of brightness as my brother illuminated me with his phone. All three gasped in shock. My mother cried out and rushed forward, her hands brushing against me, some remnants of the glue sticking to her fingers. "And Mayanan, who did this? Which heartless wretch would treat my daughter this way?" I sobbed internally, already too choked up to speak. "Mother, it was the older sister. It was she and her classmates who did this. She wanted to take my life." With a loud thud, my father angrily kicked over a table and chair. "Wretched girl." I continued to support her out of kindness, yet she is so vicious as to endanger my own daughter's life. My brother slowly approached, gently touching my face, only to feel the hardened glue that had dried and stiffened. Seeing my lips and hair so tightly glued, even my typically composed brother couldn't help but have tears welling in his eyes. My mother, wanting to tear my clothes to help me down from the wall, found that my hair and hands were firmly stuck. With no options left, they eventually had to call firefighters to bring professional tools for my rescue. At the moment of liberation, my legs buckled, and I collapsed into my mother's embrace. Wrapped in my brother's coat, I sat in a chair as my mother, sobbing, used scissors to cut away the glue-laden hair. She gently wiped my face and hands with warm water. Watching her hands tremble uncontrollably, I comforted her in my heart. "Mother, please don't cry, I'm fine." Upon hearing this, my mother's sobs intensified. "And it's my failure to protect you." I shook my head vigorously, tears streaming. "No, mother, you found me so quickly. It must be because our hearts are connected." Hearing this, my mother could no longer hold back and pulled me into a tight embrace, weeping. The firefighters and police, witnessing my ordeal, shook their heads with sympathy. The leading firefighter patted my shoulder comfortingly before departing after fulfilling their duty. The police stayed behind to take statements, and with my unsealed mouth, I recounted in detail the actions of Tsin and Tsin. My father, enraged, clenched his fists tightly, his knuckles turning white as he gritted his teeth. My brother, suppressing his anger, called my grandmother, falsely claiming that we hadn't found me yet to keep Tsin off guard and ensure she didn't escape. My mother insisted on taking me to the hospital for a checkup, while my father and brother accompanied the police home. I hurriedly refused. "Mom, I'm fine. It's just my feet that are numb. I just want to go home and take a bath." My mother glanced at me with concern but reluctantly agreed, notifying the beauty salon to send someone for home service before we got in the car. "Tsin, I want to witness the consequences of your actions firsthand." As soon as the car came to a halt, my father and brother flung open the doors and rushed inside. My mother followed closely behind, supporting me. Upon stepping through the threshold, we were met with a cacophony of slapping sounds. Tsin had received several resounding slaps from my brother and was kneeling on the ground. She continued to whimper pitifully, "Brother, you don't need to take your anger out on me just because you can't find an in. Am I not human since I'm not biological?" Hearing this, my father could no longer contain himself and kicked Tsin to the ground. "We don't regard you as human. I say you are unworthy of being one." Tsin looked at my father with a resentful gaze. And when she noticed my mother and me at the door, she realized she had been deceived by Tsin. A flicker of panic crossed her eyes, but it quickly transformed into a fierce glare. "Tsin, why do you always manage to escape disaster? Why do you return to compete with me for father and mother?" I regarded her with indifference and spoke slowly, "Because I genuinely love my family, unlike you, who only knows how to exploit their affection." Tsin laughed bitterly. "Ha, love? I once loved them sincerely, but on the day you returned, everything changed. They no longer love me as they once did. Thus, I despise them. And I loathe you even more." My mother frowned, disappointment etched on her face as she stared at Tsin. "For over a decade, our mother-daughter bond was genuine. Even with an S return, I never considered abandoning you. Yet, you have acted so maliciously, harming my daughter. From now on, you are no longer related to the Tsin family or to us as a couple. Officer, please take her away. We will pursue this matter to the end." The officer nodded and entered to escort Tsin away. At that moment, my grandmother, having finally grasped the situation, approached me with reddened eyes. She raised a trembling hand to touch my stiff, short hair, closed her eyes, and large tears streamed down her face. I gently cooed, "Grandma, don't cry. I'm fine. If it weren't for your clever granddaughter, I wouldn't even be standing here to see you. You must praise me." My grandmother looked at me affectionately, gently pinching my cheek. "You clever little thing. Grandma is grateful for your wit in protecting yourself, my dear granddaughter." With tears mingling with my smile, I gently embraced my grandmother. The beautician arrived just in time, shattering the somber atmosphere. Upon witnessing my state, she exclaimed in surprise and guided me to the bathroom for a thorough cleansing. After her meticulous care, she even trimmed my hair slightly, finally ridding me of the stubborn, viscous adhesive. After resting at home for 2 days, accompanied by my mother, we returned to the police station to supplement our statements. Tsin and Tsin had already been detained. Upon seeing them at the station, Tsin, filled with agitation, attempted to rush towards me with malicious intent. Tsin, however, cast a timid glance in my direction, her gaze following my every movement. I responded with a reassuring look, conveying my understanding. The police discovered evidence on Tsin and Tsin phones, revealing Tsin's threats against Tsin, including plans to kidnap and harm me. They also found incriminating information regarding Tsin's younger brother, who had been caught stealing from the Tsin family at shopping mall multiple times. Tsin had discovered this and obtained surveillance footage, ultimately helping him cover up his actions. Tsin had been using this information to coerce Tsin into becoming a tool for bullying classmates. I truthfully informed the police that Tsin had changed her mind at the last moment and did not go through with the plan to kill me, expressing my forgiveness. However, the final judgment from the court would depend on her fate. During Tsin's detention, my father formally severed ties with her through official channels. As a victim's family member, he conveyed to the police his desire for the harshest punishment for Tsin. Yet, due to their status as minors and the fact that their actions did not result in significant physical harm to me, the punishment was ultimately lightened. Although my father was deeply dissatisfied with this outcome, he nonetheless respected the court's fair ruling. After being cast out by the Tsin family, Tsin withdrew from school. And, being a minor, she was taken into custody by a welfare institution. Unbeknownst to us, the day of my brother's college entrance examination arrived. Clad in elegant kipayos, the three of us, my grandmother, my father, and I, awaited my brother's triumphant completion of the exam, with my father holding Hyazongzi in celebration. As I watched my brother approach us with a confident wave, I felt assured he would achieve excellent results. Excitedly, I linked arms with him while my parents assisted my grandmother from behind. Suddenly, we heard a frantic cry. "Dad, Mom, I know I was wrong. Please forgive me." My brother and I turned to see Tsin kneeling before our parents, desperately pleading. My father turned away with a grim expression, while my mother, upon seeing Tsin in such a disheveled state, briefly showed a flicker of compassion. However, When her gaze met mine, that semblance of sympathy vanished. Seeing that my parents remained unmoved, Tsin Xinghuan began to recount her misfortunes over the past 6 months. Mom, it turns out my biological father is a gambler. Drowning in debt, wanting to sell me off.
She cried.
I beg you to save me. If you don't help me, I have no way out. My mother glanced at her coldly and replied, everything is of your own making. All I can say is, in times of trouble, seek the police. We cannot assist you. She then walked past Tsin Xinghuan, supporting my grandmother as we continued forward. Tsin Xinghuan, undeterred, turned back and continued to scream after us. I cast her a glance, and she immediately dropped her pitiful facade, unleashing a torrent of curses at me. My mother, incredulous, turned back with a frown and remarked, a leopard cannot change its spots. You reap what you sow. At that moment, a formidable man burst through the crowd, shouting at Tsin Xinghuan, causing her to flee in terror. However, the man, tall and imposing, swiftly caught up to her, delivering 2 sharp slaps before seizing her like a chick and whisking her away. It seems her future would be anything but bright. The end. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this, please remember to like and subscribe. Until we meet again in the next story.